What is the one mistake first-time home buyers make consistently? I've been a principal broker for over 9 years and a realtor for longer than that. I've done thousands of successful transactions with buyers, and yet they make this consistent one mistake. And once you make the mistake, you won't do it again. Let me paint the picture. Let's say you start out, and a lot of people, you're looking through Zillow, Redfin, Trulia for your first-time home. And you're daydreaming about the home. This is going to be a great purchase for you, and if you're married, and for your children. And for a lot of people, buying a home is their single largest transaction. But what if I told you a single mistake, a trap that gets most first-time buyers into trouble, could turn that dream into a financial nightmare? Watch this short video to the end. I also offer a free financial checklist for first-time homebuyers that you can download in the description below. That's really handy. It's the culmination of many years of me working with buyers to buy homes. My name is 𝐃𝐨𝐧'𝐭. I'm a principal real estate broker. For many years, I've helped thousands of people buy their first home, and I've seen the errors that causes many first-time home buyers to lose the home they want to buy. The good news, most big mistakes grow from one foundational error, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what it is and how to sidestep it completely. Okay, let's set the scenario. Imagine you walk into an open house, and most of the time when you go to an open house, you don't go with your realtor. You go on your own. If you're married, you go with your wife, your girlfriend. So you imagine you walk into an open house on a perfect Saturday afternoon, and most open houses are on Saturday, usually from 1 to 3. And it hits you. This is the home I want to buy. Your heart is pounding. You find a listing agent that's representing the sale of the home, and you walk up to him and say you're ready to make an offer, and then the listing agent asks the question that stops everything. So you have been pre-approved for a mortgage. Now here's the key thing. Most first-time home buyers know they need to get a lender letter from a lender. They don't know the difference between pre-qualification or pre-approval, and that is huge difference. And then just like that, the brakes slam on your dream home. You tell them, yes, you have a pre-qualification lender letter, or no lender letter at all, but you've got a great job, a good credit, and the agent's tone changes. They explain the seller is only considering offers from buyers who are pre-approved. And I also, in my practice, probably 1/3 of my clients are selling, listing, 2/3 are buying. And when I'm on the listing side, someone comes to an open house, 99% of the time, they don't have a realtor with them. And I'm talking to the couple or the individual, and I ask them if they've got a lender letter. They usually confidently say, yes, I got a lender letter. And then I say, is it a pre-qualification or is it a pre-approval lender letter? Most of them don't know the difference. They just got this lender letter from a lender. So what happens is you start scrambling because you need a pre-approval lender letter, not a pre-qualification. And in a minute, I'll explain the difference. And it's a huge, profound difference. So you then scramble around trying to get the pre-approval lender letter, and by then the house is gone. And I've seen this story play out time and time again. So the big reveal, the number one mistake new home buyers make is they look at homes before they get pre-approved, not pre-qualified for a mortgage. It sounds simple, but skipping this step is like trying to run a marathon without knowing where the finish line is. And let's be clear, and this is very important, a mortgage pre-qualification is not the same thing as a pre-approval. Let's talk about that for a second. Credit unions and these big outfits that advertise nationally on TV, you can call in, usually you get some kid in a cubicle somewhere, he takes your information and he immediately issues a lender letter, but it's a pre-qualification, which is worth nothing. A pre-approval is typically what a local lender will do. You talk to a loan officer to get a pre-approval, They run your credit and they look at your income and then they offer you something that is valuable, and that is the pre-approval lender letter. Now, a pre-qualification is just a guess of what you might borrow, and it's not even worth the paper it's written on. A lender letter that is pre-approved mentions a specific loan amount based on a really deep dive into your credit, income, and assets. That letter is your golden ticket, and it proves to the listing agent that you are a serious qualified buyer. Getting pre-approved isn't just checking a box. It's the most powerful move you can make. And I can't tell you how many times I get people look at YouTube and they think they know what they need to do to buy a home. A pre-qualification, which is typical of credit unions, which is typical of banks, and is typical of a lot of the outfits that advertise nationally on TV. I'm an Army veteran. Most of my clients are military because that's the niche I really focus on. And there are a number of credit unions and national lending institutions that trot out a retired 2- or 3-star admiral, general, and they talk about how wonderful what they do. But when you call, you're not talking to a loan officer. You're talking to some kid, probably in a cubicle, and they won't give you their cell phone number because they work for the man being the company. When you get a pre-approval letter, you get a cell phone number. So when the listing agent needs to call, and typically you're looking on the weekends, right? That's when you're off work. They need to be able to call that cell phone number and talk to that lender who offered the pre-approval letter. And today I had a client. They had a friend of a friend. Everyone's got a friend who's somewhere in real estate and as a lender. And they said they could give them a great rate. And just by a little conversation over the phone, they said they were good for this amount of money. I said to them, I need to see a pre-qualification letter not. I need to see a pre-approval letter. Before I take anyone out, this is a rule I've had because it's white hair. I've been doing this a long time. In fact, I'm going to be 71 years old in November. I'm not going to waste my time or the time of my realtors who work for me to go out looking at homes if the buyer does not have a pre-approval lender letter. And I don't care who they go to. Recommend you don't do banks, recommend you don't do credit unions. They're very slow. And again, you're probably not going to be talking to a loan officer. You're going to be talking to some kid in a cubicle. The pre-approval letter incorporates the cost of the property, which includes taxes, homeowners insurance. Most places have an HOA, homeowner association, and closing costs. The goal is that you can avoid becoming house poor, where you buy a home, and again, you buy a home, you sell a house, where you buy a home and you have no money left for savings, emergencies, or life, or if you're young, you have to go out on dates and stuff. So I will not even let someone get in my car if we're driving or separately, which is more typical because of post-COVID. I will not spend 1 minute looking at homes unless they have a pre-approval letter from a local lender. Okay, so how do you get ready to give information to a local lender to get a pre-approval lender letter? Here are three of the key steps in my financial checklist. Number one, assemble your document toolkit. I call it a toolkit because lenders need the same thing. They need to verify your financial history. You should get 2 years of your W-2s and federal tax returns, W-2s if you work for an employer. Your last 30 days of pay stubs to show current income, 2 months of statements for all of your accounts, including checking, savings, and any investments. Number two, shop for your lender. I don't care who you use as a lender. My recommendation is find someone local, because when a listing agent get all these offers coming in, if they can recognize the lender and it's a local lender, you're more likely to get the home. Oftentimes, when I'm working with buyers, we're not the highest offer, but 99% of the time we succeed, first off, because they recognize the local lender, a very serious local lender who has a great track record. Now, you're not going to get this if you go to a bank or a credit union, because none of these people are going to give you a cell phone number because they work by the clock, and the calls that occur from a listing realtor for a buyer are typically in the evenings or weekends. No one's going to want to wait till Monday at 9 o'clock to get a hold of someone. And a lot of these national outfits that advertise, the phone number they put on there is a phone number with a 5-digit extension, which changes based on the time zone. So shop 2 or 3 different lenders. Don't care. Just get someone who's local and someone who's been in the business a long time. Also, when you fill out an application for a mortgage, the loan officer is going to pull your credit. They have to. Now, within a 30 to 45-day window, depending on where you are in the country, anyone else who pulls your credit who is a lender is treated as a single inquiry by a credit bureau. This minimizes the impact on your credit score. Same thing happens when you're looking to buy a car. If you go to buy a car, the credit bureaus expect you to shop around. So all of the hits on your credit when you're buying a car in a 30 to 45 day, in some states it's 60 days, period, only counts as one hit. So they encourage you to shop. So don't be nervous about having your credit pulled, because to get a real serious lender pre-approval letter, they're going to need to pull your credit. If they say they don't need to pull your credit, it's going to be a soft pull. Geez, that's a pre-qualification letter, which is worth nothing. Number 3, protect your pre-approval process. I had a client last year, and she was a lieutenant colonel, active military, and she wanted to buy her first home, and it was here in Virginia. I'm not going to say what city. I represented her. She was in the process. It was a new home builder. New home builders oftentimes throw lots of money at buyers. In fact, I found there's never been a scenario that I could see mathematically where it made sense to use a local lender if a new home buyer is throwing all this money at you. And that'll be a future video I'll do too. Another reason to subscribe. So they were throwing a lot of money at them, and we were using their lender, which you have to if they're throwing the money at you. And all set, and we were supposed to close in a week. So we arrived to do the final walkthrough, and typically do the walkthrough a week before. And she pulls up in this brand new Land Rover. It was a gorgeous Land Rover. So I said to her, I hope that's a rental car and that she didn't just buy it. She just bought the Land Rover. That really affected the ability, her debt to income ratio, DTI, debt to income. It took another 45 days before she could close. It almost didn't happen. So when you get a pre-approval, don't buy any big purchases. And she said to me, Tobin, you never told me not to buy a new car. I said, but you're a lieutenant colonel. It should be obvious. Oh my gosh. So now I tell all my clients, don't buy any big ticket items when you're in the pre-approval window before you close on the home. And basically, the pre-approval is not a final loan commitment. So don't quit your job, buy a new car, or open new, oh, that's another thing, open new credit card accounts. That will show on your credit, oftentimes make your credit go down, and then that generates a whole bunch of questions. So don't get any new credit cards, don't buy a new Land Rover, although it was a very gorgeous one. And any significant changes to your financial profile can put your final loan approval at risk. Also, the loan officer will call your place of employment a few days before settlement just to confirm that you're still working there. So if you lose your job, that's usually an indication you're not going to get the home. So in conclusion, buying your first home should be one of the best moments of your life. But that journey can sour fast if you make the one big mistake, looking at homes before you have a rock-solid mortgage pre-approval from a local lender. When you get pre-approved, first, you ground your search in reality, you avoid making emotional mistakes where you love a home but you can't afford it, and you show up as a serious buyer who can get the deal done. When I have clients who have a local lender that's solid, the lender letters of pre-approval, I beat the snot out of the other side because I work for them. And building your home on a solid foundation is possible with a pre-approval, not a pre-qualification. And if you're ready to take that first step, I've put together a free first-time homebuyers financial checklist that walks you through everything you need to get ready for your pre-approval. You can download it for free at the link in the description. It's the same checklist I give my clients to make sure they're set up for success right from the start. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.